Hi there, I'm Michelle the Painter, and this is Paint and Sip at Home. Alright, so today I'm going to be painting a lightning seascape, and I'm sipping on some strawberry tea. And if you enjoy this process, I do hope that you like and subscribe to my channel, and that you also check out my Patreon page where you're going to find additional painting perks such as this one. So this painting that I did today is inspired by a photo that was submitted by one of my Patreon members by the name of Joshua Sutton. I have a benefit for my Patreon members where every now and again they get chances to submit their photos, and I will turn some of those into YouTube video tutorials. And whoever submits the photo that I do, they get this painting from me as a thank you for them submitting their photo. So I hope Joshua likes it. So if you're interested in learning how you too could submit your images, your photos for me to turn into tutorials, or if you'd like to learn more about the Patreon membership program, I have all of that information down below in the video description. And now it's time to get painting, and let's get sipping. Alright, so for my materials today, I'm going to be using a stretched and primed 16 by 20 inch canvas. If you're painting along, you could certainly switch up the size, but that's what I'll be using. I'm using acrylic paint today. My colors are titanium white, Mars black, cobalt blue, purple violet, chrome yellow, and fire red. And of course you can switch those colors up as well. For my tools today, I have 3 brushes from my personal brush line, which is Michelle the Painter brushes. I have a 3/4 inch wide flat bristle brush, a number 6 bright synthetic brush, and a number 1 round synthetic brush. And I will probably call these out, but sometimes, especially when they're this different in size, I'll call this small, medium, and large. And of course you can switch up your brushes as well. If you're painting along with me, you're probably going to want to have a cup of water for washing your brushes, as well as a paper towel for drying your brushes. And down below this video, in the video description, I will be providing you with a few additional resources that can help you throughout your painting process. One of them is a link to my shop, where you could purchase the same exact paint kit that I'm using, from the same size and type of canvas to the paints and brushes. You can also, in my shop, purchase things individually, like the brushes from my brush line. So that's there. There's also a link where you can download a free image of the final painting. So you can print that and use it as visual reference as you go through the painting process. And there's also written step-by-step instructions down there for you as well. And that's all we're going to need today. Alright, so what we're going to do for the first step is we're going to paint a base coat onto the canvas. I'm going to be using my large bristle brush to paint, but I'm going to just use my small round to pre-mix a custom color, or to show you how to pre-mix a custom color. I'm going to be using black, blue, and white for this step to create a dark blue color that I'll be using as the base coat for the entire canvas. So I have pre-mixed my dark blue here on my palette so you can see where I'm headed. How I got to this is mostly cobalt blue, and then I used a little bit of black to darken it and a touch of white to help with the opacity. So what I'm doing is I'm in essence adding gray to my cobalt blue, a little bit darker gray than the cobalt blue, so there's more black in there and just a tiny bit of white. And this is the color I'm going to use for my base coat. This will turn a little bit darker as it dries, so just plan for that. And it's going to be streaky on the canvas because it's got, my canvas is white and this is a dark color. So once I've got the color I want, I'm just going to start applying it in a left to right type of brush stroke. I know that this is my base coat and I've got a lot of stuff I'm going to be putting on top of this, so I'm really not terribly concerned about it being a perfect coat. So even where I'm going to have spots that are going to be a little bit thinner and you're going to be able to see a little bit of streakiness to it, I'm okay with that because I know the whole process to this is going to include a second layer on my whole canvas. I think I'm just going to go around these edges right now because it's easier for me to do it this way. I feel like I always miss my edges, or they're a little bit thinner, so we're just going to go around the edges first. And then, so I just go a lot of times when I'm doing these flat backgrounds that don't have gradients, I will a lot of times do that where I kind of go around the edges. You could even take the paint and wrap it around the edges. That will provide you with a really nice finished looking product when you paint those edges of the canvas. I oftentimes at the end, after I'm done painting, I'll pick maybe one of the darker colors in the painting and just paint around those edges like it's a border or a visual kind of frame as the painting is on the wall. You can, as you're looking at it from the side, it looks like it's nice and finished and that you've paid the same amount of attention all over the canvas as you did on the front part where you painted the picture. And then once I've got the paint all on here, what I like to do is I just take my brush and go back and forth, left to right. This will level out the paint. Acrylic is self-leveling, but sometimes you might get some really thick spots or you might miss some really big spots, and this will help you to kind of get a more uniform layer of paint on that base coat. And then we're going to be using the same brush for the next step. So once you've got this done, you can wash and dry this brush and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we're going to do the first layer to the sky and the water. I'm going to be using I'm going to use my large bristle brush to paint, but again, I'm going to use my small round to pre-mix a custom color. I'm going to call this color pink, even though it's just a neutral shade of pink. The colors that I'm going to be using for this step are white, dark blue, red, and purple. Oh, and black. And what I'm doing is I'm going to pre-mix myself a custom pink tone that I see a lot in this photo. I'm going to be using that as the start of my very bright areas in the sky and in the water. And then I'm going to fade it out into the sky colors using my dark blue. I'm going to be using some purple because there's lots of purpley hues in here too. And then we'll kind of close off the top of the sky with a little bit of black, and we might put some black in the water as well. So I'm going to pre-mix my pink tone on my palette right here. This is the color I'm headed for. What this is just a really muted neutral pink type of tone. How I got to it was I started with a little bit of black and white to create a gray color, and then I added a little bit of red to it. So it's really just a very muted, almost like a really light mauve type of a color. So somewhere in through here is where I'm headed. So once I've got that color established, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my mixing tool away, pick up a little bit of that pink tone, and I'm going to mark off how far down I want my horizon line to go. So I'm going to find myself about halfway up or down my canvas. So for me, that's somewhere right about here. I'm going to come about an inch below that. Just give myself a little tick mark, and then I'll do the same thing over on the other side. So if this is about halfway up or down, I'm just going to go a little bit below that, give myself just a little tick mark, because that tells me that's where my horizon is and I don't need to go any further than that, or it just gives me kind of a place marker. So you could also put one in the kind of middle if you wanted to. So just somewhere between these two. You'll see why in a second, but so I'm doing the same thing right there. So if you find yourself the center of your canvas, just go down about an inch, you'll be in the same vicinity. So once I know where my horizon line is, I'm going to start building this big light area in the sky and in the water, which is the water reflection of the light stuff that's happening in the sky. So in the photo reference that I'm using, there's a lightning bolt that's lighting up the sky, and it lands, I would say, almost 2 inches to the right of this center point. So that's kind of where all the brightness is coming from, is that one little area in through there. So if I start here and take this light color and start moving it around, bringing this big, huge light area into the sky. You can even widen it a little bit down where it's touching that horizon line down below. I want to give this large area that I'm creating some very soft edges. So I can be pretty aggressive in the middle because that's going to be super duper light. But as I'm coming over towards the sides and trying to dissipate that lightness into the sky itself, I'm going to give it some soft edges. I am going to merge it into the background color in a minute, but right now I'm just kind of almost just letting myself run out of paint as I'm going around these edges in through here, so I can just give myself these real soft kind of fluffy cloud-like type of edges to it. So this is going to work out pretty well up in the sky in through here, just kind of softening this a little bit more down in through here, as well as maybe down in through here. And you can see that dark blue through my highlighted area in through here. So now that I've got that in the sky, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing in the water with this same color. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more of this light or this pink color, and I'm going to go right to that center mark in through here, and I'm going to start adding this into the water. So the water, I'm going to do more of like a left to right type of formation, but I'm still going to keep those edges soft. So I'm just kind of putting it on in through here. And if you do too much, don't worry. We've got lots of steps that are going to be following this one that are going to allow us to modify these areas as much as we need to. And this kind of goes, I've got it pretty wide in through here, and it seems like it becomes a little bit more narrow as it's coming down towards the bottom of the photo. So I'm gonna emulate that in my arrangement or my area of lightness. So now that I've got that, I'm going to start building it out. So I'm going to pick up, without washing my brush, I'm going to pick up a little bit of that dark blue color with a touch of white. So dark blue and just a teeny touch of white. I don't need a lot of white, just a teeny tiny bit. This is going to just kind of lighten up these edges before I start maneuvering into the purpley area. So this was just my light blue plus a touch of white and whatever remnants were on my brush. Now I'm going to pick up my purple without washing my brush. And I'm doing this because I want these colors to really speak well together. I am going to do another kind of final layer on all of this stuff, getting it to its final kind of resting place with my clouds and stuff. But right now I am definitely just kind of exploring the colors that I'm seeing in the photo and allowing them to be part of this. This purple is going to turn way darker as it dries on top of this dark blue. So I know that out of experience, but if you haven't worked with this type of color on top of that dark background, you may not be aware that it's going to do that, but I'm very aware that it's going to do that. So I'm planning for it. I'm bringing this right to my horizon line, just giving myself this color variation down at the bottom. And then once I've got, I want a little bit more purple up here in the top right. Once I've got this purple on here, again, I'm going to do the same thing in the water, but I think while I'm almost to the edges here, before I do this same thing down in the water, I'm going to just finish this out with a little bit of my dark blue along these corners, and I'm going to touch with a little bit of black as well. So I didn't wash my brush, I just picked up a little bit of my dark blue, giving myself some of this transition, allowing for this purple to intermingle with the dark blue, and making sure that I have a full coverage of paint all the way in this sky. Again, we're going to make the clouds have more distinct formation as I build this. Now I'm picking up a tiny bit of black paint just to give myself a little bit of extra darkness up in these top left and right corners. In through there, that looks pretty good. And now I'm going to wash my brush and do a similar process in the water, but with that left to right brush stroke. Because I had black on my brush, that's what's forcing me to wash my brush right now. So if I am doing what I did up here, I had a little bit of that pink on my brush, and then I went into the dark blue plus a touch of white. So that's where I'm headed. I'm going to put a tiny bit of that that pink back on, a touch of my dark blue, and a teeny touch of white. And just a I mean, I just have a dot of white on my brush, not a lot at all. And I'm going to do the same thing. So you're going to see this additional color start to emerge alongside that pinkish hue, something like this. And I got a little bit of it down towards the water part down in through here. And again, we'll finesse this a whole lot more with some additional paint, but right now I'm going to put some purple on my brush, get some of this purple to be represented along these edges, and you can see I'm just kind of using this left to right type of brush stroke. So just a little bit more purple is going on my brush, and going to allow for this to have that same type of effect that I'm seeing in the sky, only this is its reflection. So as you're building these type of paintings, the water can skew those colors. It can make them exactly as you see them up in the sky. So no, it depends on what's happening in the atmosphere, depending on what's happening in the movement of the water. All that good stuff plays a role in how these reflections come about. So now that I've got that, I'm gonna start picking up my dark blue again. Same process that I did up above. So just my dark blue, making sure that I have everywhere colored in. I did not wash my brush when I picked up my dark blue. So this is just allowing me to make sure I have full coverage. And then I'll pick up a little bit of black and make sure that I do, again, something similar. So I just picked up a little bit of black, pulling it from these sides, left and right. And then that's all I'm going to do for this first step on the sky and the water. And I'm going to be using this same brush for the next step. So once you've got this done, you can wash and dry your large brush and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we're going to do the second step to the sky and the water. I'm using my large bristle brush. I think the only color I'm going to be using in this step is black, but if I feel I need to go into any other colors, I will, and I'll let you know. So what I'm really looking to do here is put the dark pattern of clouds and waves into the sky and the water. And I'm going to be using black to do that because in this photo reference that I'm using, there's a lot of black in here. It's a really dark, you know, very energetic, dramatic type of photograph. So there's lots of darkness in it. So I'm going to be laying out, there's a big, huge, dark black cloud that's going in front of where that lightning bolt is. I want to kind of put in place the silhouette. There's a couple of big clouds over in through here that I want to put the silhouette in. And then we're going to darken our horizon line and put in the areas where the shadow or the backside of the waves is coming in towards the viewer. So I'm going to start with a little bit of black paint on my brush. So just a little bit on the tip of my brush. This big black cloud that's going in front of the lightning bolt is, I would say, maybe about an inch up from your horizon line, or the bottom of it is right about halfway up or down your canvas. So somewhere in this vicinity is where I'm going to start, and I'm just going to kind of bring it in a non-straight line over towards the left-hand side of my canvas, and then the same thing over on the right-hand side. So I'm saying non-straight, so it ends up looking like it's the bottom of a cloud, kind of. And again, I'm trying to emulate what I'm seeing in the photo, but you might find that you see different stuff than I do. If you have access to the photo, you can certainly bend it, twist it, and tweak it whatever way you want. The top line of this big cloud is a little bit more fluffier, so I'm going to just paint this midsection of this cloud with black, and then as I get towards the top, I'm letting my brush kind of run out of black paint. And what I'm going to do is when I get towards this top, I can start using this circular type of brush stroke, and it's going to give me a little bit more wispy of edges to the top side of the clouds, as opposed to this bottom, which was pretty clean. And as I go towards that top, again, I can just use these the little bristles on my brush to help me with this. I am going to be doing additional layers to the top of this cloud in a future step. So just know that as you're going through yours, if it's not looking done at this point, it's okay, because we have other steps to go. So this is just kind of bringing them into a place where I feel is representational of where I'm seeing them in the photo. And you can certainly, I think there's this fun like little one that sticks up over in through here. Again, we're going to be using a different brush and more detailed application for a future step. This is just getting the formation in place, allowing for us to understand where we want those dark things to happen. There's a big cloud in through here. The dark side of it is to the left, so I'm just going to use those remnants on my brush again and just kind of give myself what I feel is kind of that dark edge to it. Again, I don't need it to go all the way super black right now, and it's lighter on this side, so I'm just going to kind of very lightly touch my canvas, give myself just a little softness there. Don't worry if it's perfectly blended or not. We've got, again, we will rectify that in a future step. So again, and if just softening this bottom, I'm going to bring it close to this one, but leaving some of that sky peeking through. I'm going to reload my brush with a little bit of black because there's a lot of darkness over on this left-hand side. So I'm going to put a good amount of black over in through here, even up towards this top. And then there's another little cloud that sits behind here, but its bright edge is towards the light source. So I'm actually going to kind of outline it. I'm going to leave this this side. You'll see what I'm talking about. I'm like, I don't know how to explain this, but I'm going to outline the edge of it with this dark color, and then that cloud is now going to be bright towards that sun, and we'll get all this to fade into it. Let me just wipe my brush off. I feel like I have too much paint on my brush, and then we'll just kind of get this to fade into it, and I'm going to get this black to fade to the right. So now what I did was I just kind of made this cloud appear by adding darkness around it. So another little tricks that you can incorporate as you're creating these fun paintings, understanding what you're seeing, and attempting to emulate that is what it's all about. Finding these ways to create these fun illusions. So that's looking pretty good on this side. I feel like I have a couple of little dark ones over here. I have hardly any paint on my brush. I just want to kind of get in place a couple of little darker marks in through here, and then maybe take my remnants on my brush over here on the right side and just pull in a little bit more darkness around those edges in through there. And again, we have another step to go on this sky. This is just getting us to our final resting place. So I'm going to pick up more black. I'm going to darken my horizon line now. So I want this to be pretty dark at the top, almost black. I can still see my little tick marks in through here. If you cannot see yours, you might want to kind of mark an even side from top to bottom on each side. And you could even put a tiny bit of water on your brush with your black paint. And then I'm just going to kind of swiftly go across and connect these. I cannot tell from the photo if I'm seeing, if this is a total horizon on an ocean or if it is land. I can't tell. It's very tough because the photo is so dark. It might very well be land that we're seeing. So if you envision it to be land, you can totally take, you know, areas and just kind of bump them up a little bit. You could have a little island out there. If you want it to be ocean, just make it straight across. So whatever you're seeing, feel free to emulate it. And then I've got a bunch of black up towards that horizon line. So I'm just kind of putting in these larger sections in through here like this. You could even almost make it out of focus if you wanted to, because again, I'm telling you, it's so dark. So you could just kind of get this to kind of go out of focus, and then people will not know if it's a land or horizon or, you know, whatever the case may be. And then I've got some waves in the water. So I'm still going to be using this black paint. I'm going to create just these dark sections. So I'm going to come down here, maybe about an inch or two, somewhere in this vicinity. And I'm bringing across kind of a slightly diagonal line, something like this. I can even bring little breaking parts of the waves. It's definitely going to be darker on the left and the right. This is kind of scooting right across this center here. And if you know, you can certainly use a different brush. I'm just kind of using the skinny side of my flat bristle brush. You could use any brush that is comfortable to you. But again, we're going to be doing additional steps to this water. This is really just kind of helping to get us understanding where these waves are crashing. Just going to put a little darkness over in through here just to kind of pull that eye right towards the center of the canvas. So that's good for that one. Maybe just pull this down just a little bit more. Got a couple little dark areas, I would say somewhere in through here and here. And then there's another little mark dark in through there. And again, another step is coming. And then I have a big, huge one. Looks like going to take up a lot of this area in through here, coming again, kind of in a diagonal type of way, all the way in through here, nice and dark over here. Again, I'm just using black, and I'm trying to lay out where I'm seeing these darker areas in the water. So this is going to help to make it look very representational to that photo. I'm just kind of scrubbing my brush left and right to get this big dark area in through here. And this kind of travels in an upward motion for this section in through here. So that's looking pretty good. Good amount of black going in through here. And then these bottom corners, I see some blue and purple in through here. So that looks good. And I'm thinking that's all I need to do. So we're going to be using our bright brush for the next step. So once you've got this done, you can put this large bristle brush away, take out the number 6 bright brush, and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we're going to finish the sky. I'm using my number 6 bright brush to paint, but I'm making one more custom color, so I'm going to use my number 0 to pre-mix that color. I'm going to be using white, yellow, pink, my dark blue, and maybe a little bit of black and red. If I use any other colors, I'll let you know. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be finessing this a little bit more so I have some dimension to, especially to this inner cloud formation. I really want it to look like it's being lit up by the bolt of electricity or the lightning bolt, and I need to know where that lightning bolt is coming from, and we'll work those clouds around it. So I'm going to be adding some additional highlights in this middle section, and then we'll finesse all the clouds around it with another layer to make sure that they are fully executed. So I need to have some sort of light yellow type of color, but I don't want to go just chrome yellow and white. So I have pre-mixed myself a light yellow color on my palette here. How I got to this color is I actually used my pink and I added white and a touch of yellow to it. So pink, white, and a touch of yellow, because the yellow is really powerful and the pink is softening it or neutralizing it a little bit for me. And I want to have some of this dull kind of yellow hue throughout the clouds. to emulate what I'm seeing in the photo. So this is where I'm headed. This is going to help with the glow that the lightning bolt is created. So that's my color. Once I've got that, I'm going to take my bright brush and I'm going to put it in the areas that I feel are going to be the brightest. But I still wanted to kind of transition away. So this cloud is in front of this light area behind. So if I bump into the cloud right now, I'm okay with that because I'm going to finish my cloud in a minute. So I'm taking this light yellow color and I'm going to put it in this center kind of area. Then I can wipe my brush off, pick up a little bit of my pink, get it to transition outwards. Something like, I'm just kind of tapping it to get it to blend in a little bit, but not too much. I just wipe my brush off. I'm picking up a little bit more of my pink, and I'm just getting it to go darker and darker as it goes away from that bright center. Now I can pick up a little bit. I wipe my brush off. I can pick up a little bit of my dark blue and get it to kind of blend in with that pink a little bit along these edges. I can also get a little bit of this to go on that horizon line. Just pull it out a little bit, like the horizon line is being lit up a little bit. If you have too much paint on your brush, like I do, too much blue, I'm just picking up a little bit more of my light pink and just getting it to kind of blend out into that darkness. I know that this center area is gonna be the brightest, so that's where I'm headed. If I feel that I'm ready to start just kind of scrubbing and blending going out, I can certainly do that. And that's going to get these colors to just intermingle with that, with the background that we already have on there. And of course you can make yours lighter or darker. Like I feel like I want a little bit more lightness right here on that horizon line. I am going to be having that, again, that lightning bolt creating its own luminescent strike, if you will, in that sky. But this is looking pretty good to me in through here. So once I've got that, I'm doing something similar above it, but I want to start with a clean brush with that light yellow because I just had blue on my brush, and if I have blue with that light yellow, I'm going to have a big green spot in my sky. So I washed my brush. I'm picking up some of that light yellow. I'm going to go directly above here, somewhere in this vicinity, and start adding that light yellow in through here. So this is going to be intermingling with these clouds back here. So this is going to be a cloud. These are all clouds. This is a cloud. So I don't need this to be a perfect blend at this point. I'm really just looking for it to appear as if I'm the lightning bolt is lighting up these clouds in through here. So I'm taking this, I'm going to bring this around this edge and through here, around this cloud in through here, and I can start to pop it down. I feel like I want a touch of white on my brush with this light yellow as I'm coming over in through here. I might actually pick up a touch of that pink too as I'm coming over here, but I'm feeling like I definitely want a lot of lightness in through here. The lightning bolt is coming out. Let's see if this is actually it's right in the center of the canvas. So if this is the center of the canvas, it's right about in through here, I'm thinking, is where the lightning bolt is coming out. So I know that I need everything to kind of be lit up from that point out. So something like this. I've got some yellow representing over here. And right now I'm just starting to put this yellow in areas that I feel it's kind of casting some little hues on some of the surrounding stuff. Now I'm going to pick up some of my pink and white on my brush. So I have pink and white on my brush right now. Again, I'm just kind of going with what I'm seeing in the picture with these different hues. There's some darker ones in through here, so I don't know how much lightness I'm going to put in through there, but definitely some pink and that white. You could even add extra red to your pinkish equation if you feel like. I might add a little extra red kind of coming up in through here, but right now I'm just dancing with that light yellow and light pink combination and a little bit of white in order to get this to look really fluffy and that it's got some energy in it with the stormy clouds. I'm picking up a little bit more pink and white as I travel up behind this cloud in through here. So this is pink and white, and I feel like I've got some good energy on a couple of these little clouds in through here with some little edges to them in through here. So I'm seeing just like little pops of darkness and lightness in through here. So I'm just allowing for the base coat that we had done earlier to help me with that. I've got the edge of this dark cloud in through here. So now I'm just kind of spinning my brush in a circular manner. I do see a little bit more darkness up and through here, so I might pop a little bit more of, I don't know what I'm going to put there, but right now I'm still using my pink and a little bit of white because I feel I still have some of this pinkish type of cloud that I want to take care of in through here. That's looking good. Maybe a little bit more white. So again, just kind of following what I'm seeing in the photo with where the light areas are and dark areas, and there's all these little clouds kind of forming in this area. So that's, I think, obviously where the nucleus of the storm is, and I'm just kind of using the pink and white and maybe a little bit of that yellow. I feel like I need a little bit more pink and white right down in through here to get a little bit more energy down in through here. And when we go to do the final lightning bolt, you can certainly, I'm picking up a tiny bit of red too. You can certainly manipulate this even more. But right now, just kind of trying to get the energy of the clouds as I'm seeing them, and then we'll, when I do that lightning bolt, if I have any additional stuff I want to do, that's looking pretty neat. So along these edges in through here, I just wanted to kind of transition out into the sky. So I used my blue, my dark blue, and my pink initially. I think that's where I'm gonna head back to, is my dark blue plus a little bit of pink, just as I'm coming out of this area in through here, and just kind of using my scrubbing type of technique. I'm picking up a little bit more pink because that went a little too far into my formation. We'll just kind of rub that out with my finger. There we go. But again, you could certainly have yours in whatever kind of vibrancy you want as you're working towards these exterior edges. If you felt that you wanted to switch back to your big brush, feel free to do so. I'm just going to put a little bit of water on my brush to get these to just kind of fade out into there. I do need to take care of this in through here, so I'm going to pick back up some of that dark blue plus my pink and get a little bit more cloud formation in through here. So this is going to be these light edges of these clouds as they're looking towards the brightness of the lightning bolt. So something like this will work. And you've got these little peekaboo spots. So there's a dark one here and then a light one there. I'm going to now pick up a little bit of my pink. I might need to wash my brush if I can't get this to blend the way that I want, but I'm thinking that's looking pretty good in through there. And then just making sure I have full coverage, so I need to wipe my brush off. I'm picking up a little bit, I think I'm going into my purple. I don't know if I said I was doing purple, but I just picked up some of my dark blue and purple to get this transition into this cloud. So this was dark blue and purple, making sure, I feel like there's a little fun cloud coming out here, a little fun cloud coming up here. So, oh, this is pretty. I'm using dark blue and purple on my brush right now because I'm digging what's happening. So when you start enjoying something that's happening, just keep going with it. I just picked up purple and my pink to get into this little area right into here, and that's going to show that that's being lit up by that light source. So something like that. Where else? I need these little clouds in through here. So dark blue plus a little bit of my pink will probably work out well for these guys. In through here, we've got a little extra bit in through here, and we've got some of this color kind of in through here as well. So it looks like these clouds are just kind of transitioning in and out of the little storm. So if you feel that, you know, you need, I'm just picking up a little bit of my red and pink right now on my dirty brush. I feel like these colors, a lot of these colors are so talking to each other, and they've got, you know, one is red, one is pink, one is green. It looks like because of the blue and the yellow intermingling with each other. So as you're going through your process, if you come out with a different color and you're digging it, just roll with it. Let it work its way into a cloud, and let it, you know, take on that appearance. I just put a little bit more pink on my dirty brush to get these to kind of just transition out of this area in through here. And then I would sit, and if there's any areas like I feel this is kind of unfinished, I'm going to pick up a little bit of my dark blue and purple and just make sure I've got enough enough paint on there to show that dimensional element. If I feel I want another cloud kind of popping up in through here, I could even pick up a touch of, you know, I touched my brush in black if I needed this to, or wanted this to go a little darker in through here. So you can just keep playing with those tonal values until you've got those dimensional elements that are appealing to you. And then once you've got it in a place that is satisfactory to you, just make sure that you've got all of these little guys looking like they've got their second coat on them. Just make sure I've got this stuff in through here, maybe a little bit of purple and my pink. Just scoot this in through here. The more drama that you have in these clouds, the more contrast that you show on them, that's what's going to make them look the most stormy and the most like they've got all this energy in them. I'm picking up actually a little bit more of that light yellow. I feel like I really need a pop of brightness in through here. Yeah, that looks good. And then I would definitely let mine dry. I feel like if I'm picking up a touch of black, as I go through this process, of course I sit this close to my painting, but I feel that every time I think that I'm done, I do like to let it sit and dry for a couple of minutes and let myself look at it from a distance, because it really makes a difference getting a different visual perspective on it. So as you're going through yours, if you're feeling like you're not quite sure if you're done or not, just kind of play with it a little bit more and then step away from it. Like I feel like I want a little bit more lightness, so I'm picking up a little bit yellow and white. Step away from it after it's dried and look at it from a distance, see if there's any additional marks that you want to make, and then if there are, go for it. And if you feel like you're satisfied, then you're done. But I'm going to probably let mine dry, see if there's any additional little marks that I feel would benefit me, and then I'm going to be using this same brush for the next step. So once you've got this done, you can wash and dry this bright brush and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're gonna do for the next step is we're gonna paint the lightning bolt. I know I said I was gonna be using, or I think I said I was gonna be using my number 6 bright brush, but I'm not using that to paint my lightning bolt. I'm using my number 1 round brush to paint the lightning bolt. So I'm gonna be using white, but I will also be using some little accent colors. I may use a little yellow and a little red, and if I need to clean up any of my cloud formations around there, I might use my pink and my light yellow maybe. I don't know. I'll call them out as I use them. First, I'm going to put my bolt in place with white paint. I don't want my paint to be really clunky and thick, whereby I might lose control. So I'm going to take my white paint and just add a tiny touch of water into it. So it's a nice thin consistency. I don't need it like ink or anything like that, but just nice and thin so I can have some control as to where I want to put this. So again, I'm kind of going similar to what I've seen in the photo, but of course you could take yours which way that you want. So for me, in this light spot, the lightning bolt's kind of over to the left. So I'm going to start somewhere in through here and then just kind of give myself a little kind of jagged type of a line, and then it steers over here and then comes right down and hits that water right in through there. It is kind of a wider type of lightning bolt. So if you have some areas that you feel you want to make a little bit thicker, you could certainly do that. Or if you accidentally made some spots a little thicker, that's fine too. And then it actually re-emerges up behind this cloud in through here. So I'm going to just kind of bring this in this direction, and it ends up somewhere in this vicinity up in through here. So I'm just going to kind of put my starting and my ending point and go what I am kind of visually seeing in the photo, which is kind of around this direction, and then it steers down in a little wiggly line, and then it kind of comes over, and then it kind of hides behind that cloud and through there. And mine is not exactly like this cloud is not exactly the same spot as it is in the photo, so don't feel that you have to go exact. And the lightning bolts, I'm sure that there's not two in this world that are exactly alike. So if you want to put those little jolts and little electric little sprays, that's not the right word, volts maybe is the right word. There's little, I think there's a couple of them up in this direction in through here. Feel free to do so. And then once you've got it on there, I'm gonna make sure that everything around it is as glowy as I need it to be. So if you've got these clouds next to it that are kind of on the darker way, or they're just as dark as stuff that's far away, you may want to lighten up some of those areas. So I'm going to pick up just a tiny bit of pink and white, and just kind of these clouds that are right near it, just make sure that they are telling the story of that lightning bolt, illuminating them as well. If you put too much white like I just did, pick up some more of the pink, and then you can just kind of dull it down. But I want it to appear that that lightning strike is definitely having an effect on the neighboring clouds and stuff. So if I feel that they are not as bright as they should be around there, you can certainly just kind of tweak them, make them a little bit brighter, and just kind of explore that in order to tell the story of the lightning bolt. And then once you've got it on, and you're happy with the clouds around it, what you can do if you need to enhance it or make it look even brighter, you can do a couple of different things. One thing is you can make a little dark edge around it. So I could take like my pink and maybe add a little bit of yellow and or red into it, just something darker than what it's sitting on, and you could almost kind of outline part of it. That's going to make it pop off the canvas a little bit more, so you're in essence kind of without it being super visible to the viewer, you're giving it extra contrast against that thing that it's near. If that doesn't do it for you, you can add some extra glow to it. So I can take a little bit of my chrome yellow and white, and I can add some extra brightness. So if I wanted to, I think I want to put some down in through here, I can add some extra brightness around the edges of that of the bolt. I actually think I want to use a little bit more red around this side of it. So I'm going red, just a little bit of red with a little bit of white on my brush. Oh, a little bit of red and a little bit of water, not white. Or red, white, and water. All three of those things. I'm going to put a little extra bit of like a brighter pink version maybe over in through here. So anything that you can do to draw the eye even closer to that focal point, which for us is the lightning bolt, and then I can pick up a touch of white and add back some real bright pops of the white right around it. So you can add a glow, you can add a contrast next to it. I feel like I want this up here to be a little bit bigger, so I just picked up more white paint. I feel like this guy could be a little bit bigger and more bold up in through here. And then again, I would let it dry, see if, like, I feel like this needs a little bit of maybe touch of yellow in this area in through here. Again, just trying to get those colors to pop as much as I can, because it's a small detail, but it's the lightning bolt itself, but it is adding all of the atmosphere to this painting, so it needs to, you know, have something to it. This almost doesn't make sense to me the way that I have it here. Like, I feel there needs to be a cloud or something here, so because if the lightning bolt is in front of these pink clouds, it should be in front of here too. So I'm actually just going to add a little on the fly cloud here, with a little bit of red, dark blue, and water, because I'm feeling like that needs to be a cloud as opposed to openness. It is a little bit of a cloud in the painting, and I did not put it in the right spot, so I'm adding it on the fly right in through here. So there we go. And then I can add my little light yellow in through here to kind of match what's going on down below, and that'll make this look like it is behind, again, like the lightning bolt. There we go. So that adds that glow behind this little cloud and makes that cloud look like it's in front. There we go. It took me a minute there to get what I wanted, but we got it. And then I would just kind of keep fiddling. If I needed that lightning bolt to pop anymore, I definitely might add a little bit more brightness in through here. I feel like I still need to amp up these little clouds a little bit. And then we're going to use next step is definitely going to be with the bright brush, the number 6 bright brush. So once you've got your lightning bolt on here, fiddle with it as much as you feel is necessary. You can put this small brush away, take out your bright brush, and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we're going to finish the water. I'm using my number 6 bright brush. The colors I'm using are white, light yellow, pink, dark blue, and that might be it. Oh, maybe, I don't know. I think that might be it. If I use any other colors, I'll let you know. So I'm going to approach it in the same way that I approached the highlighted area in the sky, which is going to be with that light yellow is going to kind of be my start, and then I'm going to just get it to blend in. We're going to do a little bit more detail where these waves are coming out. And again, this is a very loose kind of rendition of the photo, because the photo is not HD. It's definitely very tough to interpret a lot of the details in the photo. So I'm just having fun with colors, and we're having fun with the way that these are, the water is kind of rolling in. So I'm going to start with a little bit of my light yellow. The reflection that I'm looking at is to the left of the lightning bolt itself. So I'm thinking that this dark area at the top of the horizon is probably the reflection of the cloud, and we're not seeing the reflection of the actual lightning bolt. That would be like on the other side of the cloud. That's the way I'm interpreting it. And then this big reflection that we're seeing here, I believe, is like from this area of the sky. So that's the way I'm interpreting it. You could certainly, again, find it differently or see it differently than me. So I'm coming down a little bit in through here. I feel like I'm going to need a little bit more darkness up and through there as well. But right now, just kind of putting in these really lighter kind of markings that I'm seeing. Maybe just a little tiny bit up and through there. And then down this center area, I'm finding that there's a lot of this lightness. So I'm just kind of pulling this out in through here. I'm picking up a little bit more of my light yellow. And again, this is going to be used in conjunction with, I'm going to use that light pink. I might actually use a little additional red as well. And just going to get it to intermingle with all these colors on the edge. I think I should just go ahead and put that up there as well. I'm feeling like that's good area in through there. In through here, I'm going to just kind of scoot in a couple of light areas like that. Then there's a little bit more identifiable ripples in this area in through here. So I'm leaving where I have these dark marks. I'm going to let those kind of lie and create the illusion of some ripples in through there, getting this to be a little bit lighter in through here. Again, I'll be adding white as well. So we're gonna, I think there's another, there's dark area here. There's also another dark area over here, which I'll put in play. And again, because I am using a photo reference today, which I don't always, but I have been a lot lately because I'm digging it. But as I'm kind of watching what I'm doing with the photo, I'm watching for kind of similarities or commonalities that I can impose throughout the whole thing. So I've got this light yellow, and I'm using it as my kind of highlight color on the water, but I know that it's reflecting all in the water, or all in this reflection. So if I've put it in the middle, I've got to put it probably a little bit everywhere else too. So there's little kind of dots in through here, so I'm going to kind of dot that in through there. There's a little bit over in through here as well. So I'm just kind of finding the light spots and just kind of incorporating a little bit of this light yellow. It's gonna have some other colors on top of it. Down in through here, kind of gets darker as the water fades down into the bottom of the photo. So that's looking pretty good. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pick up on my dirty brush a touch of my dark blue. So this is dark blue plus my light yellow, and this is gonna get these edges a little bit brighter. It's going to almost give it a greenish kind of hue like we have around the edges up top. And I'm just kind of, I'm not going for a full blend. I am kind of going almost a little more hatch mark or jagged type of brush stroke, just to get the movement of the water. So something like this, just again, kind of trying to follow that color pattern. Again, I have that light yellow plus a little bit of my dark blue on my brush to get these additional almost greenish type of tones. I feel like I need a little bit more light yellow on my brush, so I just picked up a little bit more light yellow. This is a little bit lighter in through here in the photo. And then I've got a little bit up and through. So I kind of went around in a circle. That was a weird way to do it, but that's what I did. I just followed what I was seeing in the photo. Before I go too much farther, there's a couple of dark areas that I feel I should attend to before I start adding all the little bright highlights on. The like super bright highlights that I'm going to be incorporating. So I think I'm going to tackle that now before I go too much farther here. So I'm going to wash and dry my brush, because I feel like there's another wave in through here, and then I've got some dark stuff up at the top too. So I'm washing and drying my brush. I'm going to put a little bit of black paint on my brush, and I'm going to incorporate, there's just kind of little small dark areas up in through here like that. It skips a little bit of this light area, and then I've got another kind of dark, looks like there's a little tiny wave kind of coming in through here, which would have been really difficult to do with my bigger brush. So this is a great time to utilize this small brush, and I can kind of pull this out a little bit. This will enhance the light marks that I've put elsewhere. There's another dark area in through right about, I would say, here. So again, I don't always need to know exactly what it is that I'm seeing in the painting or in the photo, but to be able to kind of see something in relationship with something else. Like I just looked at where the lightning bolt was compared to this dark mark. versus this mark here. So I like to put things in relationship to where I see them next to something else, or in relationship to something else in the painting. That just helps me to place them in the right spot, or in, you know, a believable spot, or, you know, similar to what is in that photo if you are trying to emulate a photo. So I've got a little mark here, I've got a little dark mark here, I've got a little dark mark in through here. It kind of wraps around. There's a little weave. This we've got that one, and then there's a couple of little dark areas in through here. So again, I'm just following the pattern that I'm seeing in the photo, and it's going to give me this believable appearance. I kind of feel like this might have little extra stuff over here. I can't really see it in the photo, but I want to be able to transition this dark into the light, and that looks believable to me. So we're going to roll with that. I'm picking up more black paint in order to get the rest of these dark marks. I might switch to a little bit of my maybe black. I'm wiping my brush off. I'm going black with a little bit of purple on my brush because I'm feeling like I don't need to go all the way black in through here. So I just put a little bit of purple on my brush too, just to give myself some dark marks, but maybe not black, black, black. I've got this guy in through here. That's a pretty big one. And again, just kind of watching where I'm seeing in the photo. So I've got some stuff over here, a little bit of darkness here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit there. Right now I've got purple and black on my brush, just to kind of make it so I've got my dark marks, but they're not 100% black. I got a little bit of darkness in through here. And then once I've got all of these dark marks accounted for, I can go ahead and start adding the additional bright stuff. I feel like I might need a little bit more dark down in through here. So I just picked up more purple and black, just making sure this works over there. I don't feel I need too much more in through here. And then coming down in through here, just making sure all of this makes sense. So a little bit more black. I'm putting, oops, that was not black at all. Don't know where that came from. Let's wash my brush to get that off. Picking up a little bit more black. There must have been something on my palette I did not see. And just kind of, looks like there's lots of just little movement as it's coming towards the viewer in through here. So I'm just kind of dabbing some little black marks in through here. So we've got more movement. Bringing it down to the bottom of my canvas. There we go. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to wash and dry my brush, and I'm going to start incorporating some of those pink hues, and then we'll go into the white hues, or the white brightness in the center. So washing, dry my brush. I'm picking up a little bit of that pink, and I definitely see it over on these edges kind of. I'm going a little bit more red in my pink, because in the water, I'm feeling like that the pink is a little bit more dominant than it might be in the sky. So I just added a little bit more red to my pink. So as I add this on here, it's got a little bit more of a defined kind of pinkish hue, and you can add as much red as you want in order to be able to see it. There's no sense in putting it on there if you can't see it. So I definitely use that as a rule of thumb as I'm going through my process. If it's not as visible as I want it to be, I add more. I'm not afraid to add more, because I can always, continue to adjust until it gets into a place that is appealing to me. I'm kind of putting this red crossing over where the yellow and the blue are meeting. It's somewhere in this vicinity, but it could be, it kind of transcends across the whole middle area here, I guess, and then we'll put that white on top of it, and that'll make it look so pretty. So that's looking pretty good. I don't feel like I need it too much farther in these guys. Maybe feel like I might need to add a little bit of light purple on those. So I'm actually gonna not wash my brush. I'm gonna pick up just a little bit of purple with that light reddish pink that I had on there, and I'm just gonna add a couple of little lighter marks down in through here. Feel like there's like some lavendery type of marks down in through here. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to wash and dry my brush and put some white down that center. So washing and drying my brush, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of white paint and put that down this center. So I'm going to go somewhere in through here and watching my dark marks, because I don't want to overpaint and I don't want to take away all of that work that I've done. So I'm just kind of putting it in this center area, watching where my dark marks are, pulling it out just a little bit, and put a little bit in through here in between these guys, and then just pulling it out where I feel, as far as I feel I should be pulling it out. I might add a little bit more red too. I might have not pulled my red as far to the edges as I could have. So I might, or that pink color I'm talking about. So I might pull that out a little bit more. I'm watching where the lightness is in relationship to these little dark marks, and I'm feeling like I might not have pulled that pinkish tone out far enough left to right. So I can certainly, again, add more. There's no harm in doing that. We're putting some of this white on top of here. And because I'm using this type of brush, I'm kind of allowing for my white in spots to be pretty transparent, because I can pull it out a little bit and it'll be brighter in some areas because I'm leaving it a little bit thicker, and darker in other areas because I'm pulling it a little bit thinner. So you can play with that transparency in the paint by its thickness. So especially white, because white is going to, the thicker it is, the less you're going to be able to see through it. So as I'm doing this, if I wanted to just add a little bit of lightness, I can put it on really thin, and that will allow it to show those colors underneath. So I could even just kind of very faintly brush a tiny bit on in through here, and I just made that area look like it's a little bit more wet. It's got a little bit more you know, shine to it, but not all the way white. And then same thing in through here. So I'm going to actually pick up a little bit more of that reddish pinky kind of color. I feel like I want to pull it out a little bit more over on this side in through here. And then I would definitely let it dry, as I always do, and see if there's any additional adjusting that I want to do. I might put a little bit more lightness down that center, but once you feel that you got it into a final resting place that you are comfortable with, we're going to be using our small brush for the next step. So you can put this bright brush away, take out your small brush, and I feel like I want a couple more little sparkly dots coming down in through here, and you can get ready for the next step. All right, so we are on to the final step. This is the final step of every painting, which is to sign it. So I typically sign mine in the bottom left or the bottom right. I'm using my small brush. I think I'm going bottom left. I have a little spot right in through here that's got some blue, so I'm gonna go with black paint. You're gonna hardly see it, but I'm gonna be able to see it. I'm gonna sign mine with my initials, but you can certainly sign yours with your first name. You can use a date, you can use a symbol, you can make whatever you want your identifying mark to be. You can make it yours and customize it. And that's going to conclude this painting. I hope you enjoyed the process. I hope you painted yourself a really cool seascape with an energetic stormy sky, and I look forward to painting and sipping with you again sometime.